everyone, my name is Amber, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here to talk about my November TBR. So November is going to be an intense month because we are going on holiday to Iceland. It's not only our anniversary, it's also both of our 30th birthdays. By we and our, I'm obviously talking about my partner and myself. So we're going to Iceland for a whole 11 days right at the beginning of the month. So it's going to be very hectic. I don't think I'm going to be able to take a lot of books with me because we're going to be driving around along the south coast in a car, and there's going to be limited space. So I'm going to do a pack with me video, I think, which will come up after we've already been, and you'll be able to see which books I end up taking with me physically. But I'm also going to take my Kindle. I don't know how I'm going to do reading on my Kindle because I've been in an ebook slump all year so far, so that's not great, but it's going to be a good chance to hopefully get through my NetGalley books. That's what I'm telling myself anyway, and then I'll take a couple of physical books as well, just in case I can't quite get into my ebooks. For the first few days, I'm not sure how much time I'm going to have to read anyway. I will obviously try to read on the flight, or I'll try to nap, but I just don't know. So I've picked out maybe 10-12 books here that I do want to read in November, but my wrap up at the end of the month is going to look very, very different to my TBR this month. Like, I'm telling you now, it's going to have changed a lot. I just wanted to get this video up because I love doing TBR videos and making lists. So here we are. The first book that I want to read in November, don't laugh at me, is House of Sky and Breath. This is a beast. This is, what's 800 pages? Oh my god, it's 805 pages. I didn't realise it was quite so large. I did start this back when it came out, I think in February, and this is the book that put me into the ebook slump because the percentage just was not moving and it felt like I was making no progress whatsoever. So that's why I now can't read ebooks. Thank you, Sarah J. Maas. But I do want to read this book and recap it because I was enjoying the first book. The first book was good, and I don't think this is going to be as good because the reviews haven't been all that positive, but I do want to read it anyway and recap it and hopefully enjoy it. Oh my god, there's a massive freaking wasp outside the window. Yeah, I obviously won't be taking this with me on the plane because this will be my entire weight limit right there, but it's one that I will get to, I think. Another chunky book that I want to read is one that I'm actually listening to already as an audiobook, but I'm not going to finish it in October. It will roll into November and it should be okay to finish. And that is God and Anatomy. This is basically talking about the history of the Western God. It talks about the situation from 3,000 years ago, what we know of the situation at least, what is now Israel and Palestine, and it talks about how God came to be and why God is bodiless, because most of the other gods back then is talking about where his body went and why the Jewish, Christian, Muslim God is non-physical. At least I think it covers the Muslim God. It only says Judaism and Christianity here, so maybe I'm wrong. I'm about 100 pages into this and we're currently talking about his feet, and we're about to be going on to other parts of the anatomy that's slightly higher up below the torso. I'm enjoying it. It's very, very interesting. I'm really interested in the sort of genealogy of God, if that makes sense, because I'm really into family history myself for like real life people, and I was just really interested in the ancient history of how God came to be, how we kind of went from a massive pantheon of gods to just one. I don't know, it's just something that's really interesting to me. So all of this Yahweh business, yeah, it's very intriguing, which is why I'm listening to this. I'm not religious in any way, so you're probably wondering why on earth I've picked this up, but that is why. It's all because I was watching The Prince of Egypt with my partner about 2 years ago, and I was like, all of a sudden, where the heck did God come from? Who is God? And my partner was just like, what are you talking about? And then I started looking up Yahweh and El, who was Yahweh's like predecessor sort of thing, the like Zeus of the pantheon. Yeah, so it's a bit of a niche subject, but yeah, I really like this book as well. It's very stunning. Can't wait to finish this one off. I don't know if I'm going to finish it in November. It depends how much audiobook listening time I've got, but I'm currently about 3 hours into the audiobook, I think, and I've got about 15 more to go. Okay, moving on to some more normal things for me. We have We Hunt the Flame, which is a YA fantasy book. I've tried reading this several times, and every time I got up to about here. This has very mixed reviews. I have seen on various websites that people didn't really like this book for various reasons. I get the impression that the mythology is very Americanized, and I don't know if that's true because I'm not one to talk. I don't know what I'm talking about in that regard, but I think this is about Arabian mythology. What I saw people saying is that it's quite Americanized, so I don't know if I'm going to love this one, especially because I have found the first like 20 pages to be a bit confusing, but I do think it's one that I'm going to enjoy just because I like the vibe. So I hope that I like it, and I'm finally going to read it in November because now is the time, and I've been meaning to recap it for like 2 years now at least. What else have we got? Let's see. We also have The Girl with the Louding Voice. This one is set in a village in Nigeria, and I think the main character is a woman or a young girl who is about to be married off, and she doesn't want to be the third wife of some guy, so she goes off to the capital city, or starts to venture there to set her own destiny and stuff. I don't know much about it. I haven't seen many people talking about it, but it is one that I really want to read. I was going to read it in October, but I didn't quite get to it. It's going on my November TBR, and it's also quite small, so this is one that maybe I could take on the plane with me. It's a good like plane size book, I think. We also have The Rage of Dragons, which I've been meaning to read for ages. This is gladiator revenge fantasy. This one has been getting very mixed reviews. Apparently the main character is very unlikable, but I don't care. I think I like the subject matter and the topic, the themes enough to potentially really enjoy it. And Essay Track Reporter really liked it, so I'm going to read this in November, and if I enjoy it, I'm going to hopefully finish off the series or catch up with the series quite quickly, because I think the second book is already out, but the third book isn't yet, so I'd love to catch up in time for the third book's release. It's a bit chunky though, so I'm not sure I am going to finish it in November. It depends how fast paced it is, really. I've got another teeny tiny book, another potential for the plane, and that is Old Man's War. I've had this one for ages. I started reading it as an ebook years ago, but I didn't finish it because I wanted to get it as a physical book, and I did, but then I didn't pick it up because I am me. This is what happens. This is a sci-fi book about a 75-year-old man who becomes a soldier in space because it's the old man's war. I think he gets given like a new body or something. Yeah, the machine can restore their lost youth. So I guess we're getting like pensioners back into war now. Don't know loads about it. It's a series and hopefully I enjoy it. I also have an autobiography memoir sort of thing, which is called I Am Malala. This is about a woman who won the Nobel Prize after she escaped from, I think, Pakistan, from the Taliban, because she was shot by them because she wanted to pursue an education. I don't know much about her, but I have seen her sort of around in like the news and media and stuff, so I'm very intrigued to learn her story. I think it's going to be very inspiring. Also, there are photos in this which I love. Again, this might be one that I take on holiday with me. It's something a little bit different to the fiction books that I'm taking. I don't know. Yeah, this is one I do want to read in November. What else? We have another chunky one, which is The Never Tilting World. This one is on my TBR because it's one of the ones that I got early on this year, and I'm trying to read books as soon as I get them or close to the time that I get them, and that wasn't the case with this one. This is my like oldest 2022 acquired book, if that makes sense. And this is a YA fantasy book by Rin Chapeko. I did start reading this as an ebook. I got about a quarter of the way through, and then I wanted to get the physical book, and then my friend was giving it away, so I got it off her. It's quite long. It's like 400 pages, but because it's YA, I think it's going to read quite quickly. It's not one that I'm going to take on holiday with me though. I'm going to have to leave this until the end of the month, I think. I wanted another really quick read for November as well, so I picked up The Versions of Us. This is another one that I picked up early on this year that I still haven't gotten to. This one I think is a bit like Life After Life from what I can tell, so the main characters keep meeting over and over again in different lives of some sort. It says it's like One Day Meets Sliding Doors, and I really like that sort of time travel-y parallel universe type thing. So again, this is another fast-paced one that might be good for my holiday, so that's why this is on here. Also because I got it quite early on in the year and I should have read it by now. I hope it's good. I haven't heard much about it though, so I don't know. If you've read this one, let me know what you thought of it. Unless you hated it, don't tell me because I don't want to be put off. I've also got Senlin Ascends, which I've been meaning to read for months now so that I can recap it. My friend Justine really didn't like this first book because the main character is apparently awful. It's about a guy who has to go into the Tower of Babel in order to rescue his wife, and I've heard the author doesn't treat female characters very well in this first book, but other people have told me that that does improve, so I'm going in cautiously, but I'm looking forward to it because I do love the sound of this. The thought of him going into the Tower of Babel and sort of climbing floor to floor and going through different challenges along the way sounds really good to me. I hope this is good because I've had it out from the library for months now and I really should be giving it back soon in case someone else wants to read it, although no one else has reserved it, so it's probably okay that I'm keeping it. I've also got The Coven, which is a witchy book. I don't know if it's like a dystopian witchy book. The tagline is just, imagine a world in which witchcraft is real. Mothers pass on peaceful powers to their daughters. Men in charge decide that the secret knowledge is dangerous. So again, I'm hoping this is going to be a fast-paced book. I'm hoping it's going to be quite feminist. Looking forward to giving it a go. And then we've just got a couple more. I'm not going to go into my NetGalley books because I honestly don't know what I'm going to be in the mood to read when I'm away. So I'm just going to show you these two. The first one is For the Wolf. I picked this one up because it's snowy and I'm going to Iceland where we might get some snow, or it might just rain and be super windy the entire time. This is a Red Riding Hood retelling, I believe. It's about two sisters. One is for the throne, destined for the throne, and the other one is destined for the wolf. And we follow the one who's destined for the wolf, and then in the sequel we follow the one who's destined for the throne. I started this, I read the first couple of chapters and I was into it, so I'm looking forward to reading it. I'm thinking this is going to be a kind of atmospheric dark fantasy book that I do enjoy in winter, so that's why this one's on the TBR. And then finally we have Red Tigress by Amelie Zhao. This is the sequel to Blood Air, which I read earlier on this year I think, and I really enjoyed it. I gave that 4 stars. It's an Anastasia retelling. The main character is called Anna and she is a princess and she has been sort of like chucked out of the throne and the royal family, and she has to team up with a snarky guy who was imprisoned for something, can't remember what, in order to get back to her family, back to her throne, and take back the kingdom. But obviously things go wrong. It's a fantasy book as well, so there's some magical elements in there, and I'm really looking forward to reading this one and maybe reading the third book in December, but I'm not going to let myself get too carried away. I'm definitely going to read this one in November, and then we'll see how I do with the third one. Maybe I'll read that at the beginning of next year instead. So that's my TBR. It's very ambitious considering I'm going to be away for so long, but I'm excited. These are all ones that I'm very, very keen to read. I really, really want to get to. So let me know in the comments below what's on your November TBR. Let me know if you're going away this winter. That would be really fun to know. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video because it really helps the algorithm know that my videos aren't crap. Thank you for watching, and I'll speak to you all in the next video. Bye! Retelling, I believe. It's about two sisters. One is for the throne, destined for the throne, and the other one is destined for the wolf. And we follow the one who's destined for the wolf, and then in the sequel we follow the one who's destined for the throne. I started this, I read the first couple of chapters and I was into it, so I'm looking forward to reading it. I'm thinking this is going to be a kind of atmospheric dark fantasy book that I do enjoy in winter, so that's why this one's on the TBR. And then finally we have Red Tigress by Amelie and Zhao. This is the sequel to Blood Air, which I read earlier on this year, I think, and I really, really enjoyed it. I gave that 4 stars. It's an Anastasia retelling. The main character is called Anna, and she is a princess, and she has been sort of like chucked out of the throne and the royal family, and she has to team up with a snarky guy who was imprisoned for something, can't remember what, in order to get back to her family, back to her throne, and take back the kingdom. But obviously things go wrong. It's a fantasy book as well, so there's some magical elements in there, and I'm really looking forward to reading this one and maybe reading the third book in December, but I'm not going to let myself get too carried away. I'm definitely going to read this one in November, and then we'll see how I do with the third one. Maybe I'll read that at the beginning of next year instead. So that's my TBR. It's very ambitious considering I'm going to be away for so long, but I'm excited. These are all ones that I'm very, very keen to read, and I really want to get to. So let me know in the comments below what's on your November TBR. Let me know if you're going away this winter. That would be really fun to know. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, because it really helps the algorithm know that my videos aren't crap. Thank you for watching, and I'll speak to you all in the next video. Bye.